Okay, my name is Allie, and these are my 6 people in my audience.
Cheers, you guys should be honest. Okay, cheers.
So, I'm going to teach you how to make cookies without even using the oven. So first, you're going to get all the ingredients together, which is only the basic ingredients that you might already have at your house. The only ingredient that you might not have already is the oats. You need 4 cups of that, but you have to make sure it's the quick cooking oats, because if it's not, then they won't cook all the way in here, and they'll be hard and the cookies will be gross. So you also need to have peanut butter. You can use chunky or creamy, because the chunky adds like flavor to it, but I don't like chunky peanut butter, so I use creamy. This you're supposed to start boiling, so I already have some of the ingredients already made, which is the sugar, the butter, and the cocoa powder. You're supposed to boil that for 1.5 minutes. And then you add the milk. It's going to look like a liquid mixture, and then you're supposed to boil it for 2 minutes so that it's hot when it comes off. Then you're going to add the peanut butter after that, and it's already hot, so it should melt completely. You can also add like Nutella or something else if you want like a different flavor, but I chose peanut butter because everyone likes peanut butter. The good thing about these cookies is that you don't have to use eggs, so you don't even use the oven. So you don't have to preheat the oven before you make them, which usually takes like the longest part about making cookies, is that you have to do separate batches because only a certain amount fit on one pan. So once you mix the peanut butter in, it should still be like a liquid. And then once it's completely mixed, you're going to add the oats. The oats are last because the peanut butter will get stuck in them if you don't melt the peanut butter completely. And the oats you only want to put a little bit in at a time because it's kind of like the flour when you're adding the cookies, you're only supposed to put a little bit in at a time. And as you're mixing them, it cooks them because the heat from when you boiled it, which is why you actually don't have to use the oven, is because they're being cooked in the mixture that you made. And then you just keep adding them until they're completely in here. You can also add some nuts at the end or something if you want to, just to add more flavor. I don't really like nuts, but you could choose anything really. This basically kind of you bake your own cookies. I chose peanut butter because we have peanut butter and everyone usually has peanut butter. So then you just keep adding the oats. At the end, you're going to put the cookies on here, and they're actually going to go in the fridge instead of the oven. Putting them in the fridge makes them like harden a little bit. You don't have to put them in the fridge. You can eat them when they're like hot kind of, but it's going to be a little messy. So the recipe says to put them in the fridge. As you're mixing it, the mixture gets kind of hard because there's a lot more oats than there are like the liquid mixture. So you just have to keep mixing it. You can also add, it said in the recipe, you can also add a little bit more butter, but only a tablespoon more if you wanted to, because if you add too much, it'll just be liquidy and it'll never harden. So you can see it's getting a little hard now.
Looks good.
We're almost done adding all the oats. The last part of the oats is actually probably the hardest to mix in because all the mixture is soaked up by the oats.
Wow. It's good exercise.
So you would just keep mixing this in here for a while. You can add more peanut butter if you want. I didn't add that much because I didn't want them to taste only like peanut butter. I wanted to taste the cocoa in them too.
Can we use a mixer if we want?
Yes.
Okay.
So once this is all mixed together,
It's not ready.
you're going to get a spoon, and you're basically going to do the same thing you do when you make normal cookies, and just get like a tablespoon of the mixture, and then you just put it on the pan. You kind of want to clump it together because it kind of like is still mushy. So when you clump it together, once you put it in the fridge later, it might harden, and it should be like an actual cookie. So you would just set them up like normal cookies. You don't have to set them really far apart like you do when you're making real cookies, because they aren't going to expand when you put them in the fridge. And you can make the cookies as big as you want or as small as you want. And And that's pretty much it. Those are the only steps, which is why I like these cookies, is because they're only like 3 steps that you have to do, and there's not a lot of ingredients involved. So basically, to go over what we just went through, you would get all your ingredients together before you start. It's only 6 ingredients. Once you mix the cocoa, the sugar, and the milk in the saucepan, you would let it boil for 1.5 minutes. After it's done boiling, you would take it off the heat and put in the oats. Well, you put the peanut butter in first, mix the peanut butter completely until it's melted. Then you would slowly add in the oats. Once the oats are completely mixed in, it would look like this, like a thick mixture. Then you would make them the size of the cookies and put them on the pan. And that's all that you have to do to make these cookies. And then you show the audience.
Oh, good, you just missed a minute.
It doesn't have to be exact.